Yo, greetings and what's going on, and happy Thanksgiving. And what is on Andre's mind right now? It's a Thanksgiving tradition for the WWF. It is the WWF 1996 Survivor Series. This was the 10th annual series event by the World Wrestling Federation and took place on November 17th, 1996 at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Attendance was 18,647, while the buy rate was 160,000. Your commentators for the entire night was Vince McMahon and Jim Ross. Jerry Lawler would only call the first Survivor Series match, as he would be wrestling later on in the night. Sonny, that's right, that's Sonny, would join commentary for the second Survivor Series match, and Jim Cornette would join commentary for the third Survivor Series match. The event had 6 matches, 3 of the matches being traditional Survivor Series matches, 1 match with a special stipulation, a number 1 contenders match, and there was only 1 title match throughout the entire night. And with all the festivities out of the way, we have the first match of the night. It's a Survivor Series traditional elimination match, tag team style. It's the WWF Tag Team Champions, the Owen Hart and British Bulldog, teaming up with the New Rockers, that's Mark Jannetty and Leif Cassidy, the future Al Snow, versus a brand new team that came to the WWF, Doug Furnas and Phil DeFawn, and they team up with the Godwins, Henry Yo and Phineas I. There wasn't much of a crowd reaction for anybody here except Hart and Bulldog. Furnas and DeFawn were newcomers who were brought in from Japan. The New Rockers were a team that was coming to an end, and the Godwins were sort of in limbo. The first elimination came at 8 minutes 12 seconds when Jannetty was limping around the ring with a leg injury. Apparently he had some bone chips in his foot, so he was going to be out for a minute. Henry hit the slop drop first DDT to get the pin. Owen went into the ring and hit Henry with a spinning heel kick to Henry Godwin in 8 minutes 18 seconds. Bulldog nailed Phineas with a running power slam and eliminated him at 9 minutes 4 seconds. LaFawn hit a reverse suplex off the top rope and eliminated Cassidy at 13 minutes 43 seconds. That's a move you gotta see, because that was amazing. LaFawn hit a sunset flip on Bulldog for an elimination at 17 minutes 22 seconds. And Furnas eliminated Owen after a release German suplex to win the match at 20 minutes 41 seconds with Furnas and LaFawn as sole survivor. The match, while a slow start, picked up around mid-match. Good opening with Furnas and LaFawn looking impressive as a new team that would go on to feud with Hart and Bulldog for the tag team titles. Unfortunately, while Furnas and LaFawn were great workers, problem was they didn't have a strong connection with the crowd because they didn't have much of a gimmick than just them being great wrestlers. Match 2 was a grudge match between The Undertaker and Mankind, with stipulation that if The Undertaker wins, he gets 5 minutes along with Paul Bearer, and Paul Bearer will be suspended in a shark cage over the ring. This was a continuation of this feud that saw Bearer turn on Undertaker to align himself with Mankind at SummerSlam of '96. The Undertaker made his entrance as he descended from the rafters with bat wings and debuted his new black leather gear. A good match, like usual, working from these two. Undertaker loved working with Foley because of his willingness to take punishment. There were some brutal bumps by Mankind, which is something he always did, even though it wasn't always the smartest thing. The ending had Mankind pull some weapon from his tights that he used to hit Undertaker in the head with it. Mankind jumped on the back of Undertaker, but Undertaker reversed him over and hit the tombstone to win the match at 14 minutes 52 seconds. Which means Undertaker's gonna get 5 minutes with Paul Bearer, but we all know things don't go accordingly to plan. Post-match, as The Undertaker was about to get his hands on Bearer for the agreed 5 minutes, the Executioner, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, under a mask, showed up to attack The Undertaker, which gave Bearer time to leave the ring. Undertaker hit a clothesline on the Executioner, which caused him to leave. Match number 3 was the second Survivor Series elimination match as World Wrestling Federation champion Hunter Hearst Helmsley teamed up with Crush, Jerry Lawler, and Goldust against the team of Mark Merrill, the Stalker Barry Windham, and the debuting Rocky Maivia. Yes, this was the WWF debut of The Rock, who at this time was introduced as Rocky Maivia. Originally, Mark Henry was supposed to be in this match, but during training he broke his ankle, leaving the team 1 man short. Before the match, Sonny came down to ringside to join commentary. Before the match, Mark Merrill takes the mic and tells the heel team that his team has a replacement for Mark Henry and that he has had a revelation. What revelation is he talking about? This replacement is Jake Snake Roberts, who brings his large snake Revelations to chase away all the bad guys. The crowd was really hot for Roberts when he came out. Now for the eliminations. Lawler went for a slam, but Roberts slipped out and hit a DDT to eliminate Lawler at 10 minutes 1 second. Crush nailed a cheap forearm to the back of Wyndham, and Goldust capitalized with the curtain call to eliminate him at 12 minutes 44 seconds. Merrill went up top and hit the Merrill Salt to pin Hunter in 19 minutes 20 seconds. What I gotta admit was an upset elimination, considering Helmsley is the Intercontinental Champion at this time. Merrill missed a diving attack outside the ring where he landed hard on the floor. This set up Crush to hit his heart punch on Merrill to eliminate him at 20 minutes 36 seconds. Crush avoided Roberts' short arm clothesline, which Crush responded with a heart punch to eliminate Roberts at 20 minutes 54 seconds. Goldust held Rocky for Crush to use the heart punch, but Rocky moved and Crush punched Goldust by accident. This set up a crossbody block by Rocky to eliminate Crush at 23 minutes 12 seconds. Rocky hits Goldust with a shoulder breaker to win the match at 23 minutes 44 seconds with Rocky Maivia as his sole survivor in his match debut. The match was pretty good, and it was a good debut for Rocky. The goal of this match was to tell the fans that this Rocky Maivia was still on the rise, and they were right, because historically this match is important because it helped Rocky on the map, because in 2 years he is one of the bigger main eventers. This wasn't easy to see this at this time, but clearly Vince, JR, and WWF management believed in him, and boy were they right. Match number 4, we have one of the most classic matches ever in WWF history, as it was a #1 contenders match for the WWF Championship, as Stone Cold Steve Austin faces the returning Bret the Hitman Hart. Yes, this was during a time where Bret Hart, after losing the WWF title at WrestleMania 12, he took a 6-month hiatus. During this time, Bret Hart's contract with WWF, it expired, and there were rumors that he might go to WCW. But Vince was able to convince Bret to come back to WWF on a 20-year deal. Let's see how that works. So Bret came back, and one of his first matches to come back was against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Videos shown to set up Bret Hart versus Steve Austin was really great. Of course, Bret took this 6-month break. Austin was a rising star after winning King of the Ring. Hart called Austin the best wrestler in the business, while Austin called out Hart, saying he wanted a match with him, and Hart accepted. One of the great lines Austin did in this rivalry was, "If you put the letter S in front of Hitman, then you have my opinion of Bret Hart." When Austin was interviewed by Todd Pettingill backstage, he told Bret that cliches are cliches and the Hart's going to get an ass whipping. This was when the support of Austin was really starting to grow. The Austin 316 speech from King of the Ring 96 was huge for him, and this led to a lot of signs from fans as well as merchandise being sold. When Bret Hart was interviewed by Pettingill, he said that MSG is holding ground and he's got his fans out there that were waiting for his comeback. Hart also said that he's greedy for respect and Austin will respect him. Bret Hart also received a massive ovation from the crowd since it was his first televised match at WrestleMania 12. As for the match, I've been going to say this for a long time. This is an awesome match. This match was very special because it was so entertaining from start to finish. Both guys kept going for pinfalls, and some had so many close falls. Not only this was a big match for Bret, this was a big time match for Austin because he had a lot to prove. A lot of pressure on him to perform at a high level, and he delivered the best match of his career, basically. The finish was done very well, and it was very clever. When Austin realizes that he has hit Bret with everything, including hitting him with a stunner, and just can't put him away, Austin goes back to his ringmaster days by putting Bret in the $1 Million Dream. However, Hart walked towards the turnbuckle, landed back on Austin. The ref counted 1, 2, 3. Hart ends up winning the match because Austin could not let go of the $1 Million Dream. Austin kicks out, but it was too late. Hart wins the match at 28 minutes 36 seconds. With this win, Bret gets to face the champion at the December pay-per-view in your house. It's hard to decide which match was better, Hart Austin at WrestleMania 13 or the Survivor Series match, but both matches are outstanding and neither one never gets old. Match number 5 was the third Survivor Series elimination match and penultimate match of the night. And this is the leftovers match, as Farouk, Vader, Fake Razor Ramon, and Fake Diesel, the future Kane, faced a team of Savio Vega, Flash Funk, Yokozuna, and a mystery partner. Like I said, this was a leftovers match, and this is the second Survivor Series match of the night with another mystery partner. Farouk, around this time, had ditched the gladiator gimmick and started his leadership of the Nation of Domination, which I gotta be honest, was a much needed gimmick change and better direction for Farouk. The gimmicks of the fake Razor Ramon and fake Diesel were definitely coming to an end, thank God. Flash Funk, otherwise known as Too Cold Scorpio, was a newcomer in the WWF. And the biggest surprise of this match was Vader. He had a strong beginning in WWF. He had dropped down the card significantly. More on that later. But the biggest surprise was the mystery partner of the face team. It was the legendary Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who was 53 years old at this time, received a great ovation from the MSG crowd. So Jimmy Snuka was going to go at it one more time. Jim Cornette joined the commentary team for this match as he was managing Vader at the time. Now for eliminations, and trust me, this won't take long. Diesel hit a jackknife powerbomb to eliminate Vega at 8 minutes 39 seconds. Snuka was able to hit the Superfly Splash to eliminate Fake Razor at 9 minutes 28 seconds. So Snuka got at least to perform his signature move at MSG. Then things go straight down the drain as Diesel hits Snuka with a chair in the back, which causes Vega to run back to the ring, and all 8 guys start to brawl. Vega and Snuka nail Diesel with chairs. Then it was announced that due to all hell breaking loose, the match was over at 9 minutes 48 seconds with no survivors. This is probably the second time that a Survivor Series match has had no survivors. And very bad match with a horrible finish. But to be honest, it was a leftovers match with 7 active wrestlers with nothing else to do, and a part-timer who is well past his prime. As for Vader, honestly, with him being forced down the card, he should have been a sole survivor here to salvage his career and to rebuild that toughness he had. But WWE just soured on the guy. This was such a missed opportunity to let Vader be loose, to become the monster he was known in Japan and in WCW, but because of certain circumstances, WWF was forced to change the direction of Vader. Again, more on that later. There's no specific reason why this match was cut so short or why there were no survivors. And also, this was also the final WWF match for Yokozuna, as he was released shortly after the show due to him unable to keep his weight under control. We've come to match 6 with 5 matches in. We've come to the main event, as it was the only championship match of the night, as it was for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, as WWF champion Shawn Michaels defended the championship against Psycho Sid. The main story was this: Shawn Michaels went into this night being the champion for 8 months and finding someone who was once his bodyguard in the past. As for Sid, he had his psychotic desire to become the champion no matter what. When both men made their entrances, it was a sign that times had definitely changed. When Sid made his entrance, he received a lot of cheers. He was getting his Sid chance, besides being the heel in this match. But to call Sid a heel would be an understatement, because he's kind of like a tweener at this point. There were a lot of wrestlers that pretty much loved this guy, even though his character was totally out of his mind. On the other hand, when Shawn Michaels, who was the WWF champion, who walked out with his mentor Jose Lothario, came out, he had a mixed reaction. And yes, while he was greeted and loved by the younger crowd and all the women that screamed for him, and even though some women grabbed him on his way to the ring, which scared he had to break it up, he was booed heavily by the male fans. Because due to the changing times, the business, and the fact that all the women fans were cheering for Michaels, nobody wanted to see the smiling good guy anymore. It was all about bad guys now. And as 96 was coming to a close, the truth was just right there in people's faces, and the companies had to change for the better. As for this match, this was a very good main event for the WWF Championship. One of the best matches in Sid's career, and a great example of why Michaels was one of the best wrestlers ever. While Sid was not known for great matches, Michaels had the ability to carry inferior workers, and that's what he did here. Michaels really got his game here in this match as he bumped all over the place to make Sid look strong. One of the biggest things about this match was the crowd reactions. They were interesting because normally Michaels would have been cheered heavily at this time, but New York is such a different crowd. The ending was really great. As Sid grabbed the camera from a ringside cameraman, Jose Lothario was on the apron, cheering Michaels on. Instead of Sid hitting Michaels, Sid turns around and hits Lothario in the chest with the camera. Unfortunately, that gave Shawn Michaels a chance to hit Sid with Sweet Chin music. But as Michaels looked down at Lothario on the floor, he yelled for someone to check on him. As he yelled somebody to come down to the ring, Sid went out to the ring, rolled Michaels back in, and did a spot where Michaels hit a cross body block on Hebner after Sid moved out of the way. Michaels again checks on Lothario, so Sid picked up the camera and hit Michaels in the back with it, which got a lot of cheers. Remember, I told you, times were changing. Sid rolled Michaels back into the ring, performed a powerbomb on Michaels. 1, 2, 3, and in 20 minutes 2 seconds, Sid wins the WWF title. Post-match, as Sid celebrated with the WWF title inside the ring, Michaels checked on Lothario as EMT showed up to wheel Lothario to the back as Michaels stumbled, ending the show. Remember when I said that due to certain circumstances that Vader was pushed down the card and was no longer part of the main event scene? Well, it was because of Shawn Michaels. You see, the original plan was Vader and Michaels were supposed to wrestle 3 times. A match at SummerSlam 96, a match at Survivor Series 96, and at Royal Rumble 97. The story was that Michaels was to defeat Vader at SummerSlam. Vader was supposed to beat Michaels at Survivor Series, defend and retain the title at In Your House in Time. Yes, a pay-per-view was named after Vader's tagline, It's Time, against Bret Hart. Then dropped the title back to Michaels at Royal Rumble 97 in Shawn Michaels' hometown of San Antonio, Texas. While Michaels beating Vader at SummerSlam was the plan all along, Michaels complained to the company about Vader being too stiff in the ring. Because of that, Vader's main event push was thrown out the window and plans had to change, so Sid was put in Vader's place. My final rating for WWF Survivor Series 1996, 4 out of 5. This was an excellent show. The future of WWF was in good hands as Steve Austin, The Rock, and Mankind all made the Survivor Series debuts and all 3 delivered spectacularly. LaFon and Furnace were booked strong on their debut night. Mark Merrill had his moment by pinning the Intercontinental Champion Helmsley. Flash Funk and Vader should have had the same impact on this night, but unfortunately they didn't. Now for the best match and worst match of the night. The best match is Steve Austin and Bret Hart. That is a classic match. You've got to check that out. If you haven't, please check it out. But if you have seen it but want to check it out again, please do it. As for the worst match of the night, it was Team Farouk versus Team Savio. Leftovers match, very bad ending. Nothing more I can say. Now for the final match ratings of the night. The men's tag team elimination match, 3 out of 5. Mankind versus Undertaker, 3.5 out of 5. Team Triple H versus Team Merrill, 3 out of 5. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, 5 out of 5. Team Farouk versus Team Savio, 1 out of 5. And WWF title match between Michaels and Psycho Sid, 4 out of 5. Well, that's my review for WWF Survivor Series 1996. But what do you think was the best match of the night? Was it a title match? Was it Austin and Hart? Do you think that some people should have been pushed a little bit better around this time? Do you think Vader should have gotten another chance despite Michaels complaining? Just let me know. Like, subscribe, and share. Write in the comments. And that's on my mind. So, see you next time. Peace out.